and welcome to Talking About. I'm John Griffith, and I'm joined by
Salvatore Capizzi.
guest host extraordinaire. You've been here as a guest before, but this is your first time filling in for Cara, who's in Texas shooting people and things in rednecks. Last time she was in Texas, she posted all these pictures of herself with guns, so I'm just assuming she's on a redneck hunt.
It can't be like deer season or something in Texas. It has to be a redneck hunt. Well, then again, it is the presidential election coming up, so she's probably down there looking for a nice Republican candidate.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me, first and foremost. I enjoy filling in for Cara, even though I can never be as good as her. So when you watch this, we love you.
Well, we'll see.
What did you just look at?
Looking at the moves.
Oh, thank you. They're nice and pepperoni-ish just for you.
Hey, you got the perky going on. Well, okay, you are a stand-up comedian.
Yes.
Throughout the city.
Throughout the city.
What have you been up to since we've...
What have I been up to? Even more stand-up, TV, this tonight, and for anyone who wants a great club to go to, come to Stand Up New York on the Upper West Side on Monday on the 8 and 10 p.m. shows.
Okay.
Just shamelessly plugged myself.
That's why you're here. That's the only reason
Excellent.
you showed up. There's a lot going on in the world. You mentioned the election coming up.
I mentioned the presidential election, yes.
And there's been a whole lot of crazy with that lately.
There has been, especially with Donald Trump, right? Actually, I'm loving his idea of wanting to build this Great Wall of Mexico, specifically because he wants to build it to keep all the illegal Mexicans out of our country from taking jobs away from Americans. But my question is, why would he want to fire his entire hotel staff?
Very good question.
Another thing is,
and who are gonna be the people who actually build the fence, the wall?
His hotel staff.
Exactly.
They're gonna go from changing sheets to changing cinder blocks.
Okay, and we're walking a fine line with this.
All right, we're walking a very fine line. Okay, I want to know why we can't have a sexy president. Just like a beautiful president, just like somebody, because they're just all old white guys coming into the White House, and they want to do this big movement throughout the country, but they can't even get their bowels to move.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Valid point. Okay.
Yeah. Which brings us to McCain. And
yes.
Yeah. Sarah Palin is not unattractive. She's got nothing going on up here, and that's the last time that they tried someone who was like.
There's nothing for me with Sarah Palin.
Well,
she doesn't do it. I mean,
she's the partial term governor, partial term talk show host.
Ex-governor.
It's a partial term governor.
Okay, all right, yes, partial term, because fame got in her destructive path.
Right, and her governorship was aborted.
Yeah, aborted, that's an interesting word. I am happy, can I just say, the Duggars are finally off TV. Isn't that great?
Yes, we did almost a whole half hour on the Duggars a few months back, and I called the show Duggery.
Duggery, yes. There was nothing, what did you think about them?
I am grateful that they're off the air. I know that they're off the air for now.
Yeah.
I think TLC is probably still in bed with them.
Okay. It's a temporary thing?
I think so. I think they're probably going to test the waters again in a couple months just to see if it's blown over. And hopefully nobody will watch whatever they try to do.
No.
Which will most assuredly be without Josh.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
He's got his hands busy elsewhere.
Right, absolutely. I mean, and now that they're off the air, I mean, each one of them kind of has to go get real jobs in the real world, and especially Josh. What's he gonna put on a job resume? Special skills, changing my sister's tampon.
Oh. Oh no.
Sorry.
But actually, if you follow any of their social media pages, one of them was actually. Neither do I, but it got picked up here and there. So one of them caused a little bit of a scandal within their own community. She went to the beach and she was, covered from the ankles up, but she was sleeveless.
Oh.
A scandal.
How scandalous of her. I'm sleeveless right now. Am I making that big of a statement?
You're going to burn in hell. For many reasons.
Besides showing my arms in public and on TV.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's the beginning of your career. You'll be showing much more in a few years.
I've already shown a lot, John. That's why I'm on this show.
So I've heard. That's it. Yeah. I got your number from the men's room wall.
Doesn't everyone? Right next to the little drill.
But
more TV. Bruce Jenner.
Caitlyn,
Formerly Bruce, but now Caitlyn.
Mm-hmm.
I find her to be a personal hero, just because everything she's enduring right now. You know, yeah, I mean, in this day and age, yes, we do have freedoms to be ourselves, but she is getting a ton of crap from people.
Yeah, well, that was going on before. Like it or not, better or worse. Actually, she's won me over to a degree.
Is it the leg, because of the leg she showed on the magazine?
No, I think it was the acceptance speech that really won me over. If you haven't seen it, ESPN gave her a Courage or Bravery Award, and she gave this really moving speech addressing many of the issues of the transgender community, and even she addressed her own lack of experience with knowing people within the community and the feelings of aloneness and all that fun stuff that comes along with any coming out process.
Yeah.
And it struck me as extremely genuine, and it did win me over.
And courageous. Yes. Courageous, because she was getting a lot of backlash from people that she shouldn't have got that award. But you know what? The ESPYs are from ESPN for athletes, for former athletes. I don't care about the girl with 8 arms who picked a bridge up. She's not an athlete. Caitlyn Jenner used to be an Olympic champ.
Right, and this person is brave, this person is brave, and this person is brave. What they're brave for doing are very different things, but it doesn't mean that it's not bravery.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I read somewhere, somebody called into a TV show and just asked a completely stupid question. How do I explain Caitlyn Jenner to my kids? And you know, it's hard to explain to a child, but if you just sit your child down and say, sweetie, listen, Bruce Jenner used to have to pay $20 to get into the club before midnight. Now he gets in free before 11. It's a really simple explanation.
It's funny to say, if you look at going back to some social media stuff, that, again, the coming out process and all that stuff with same-sex marriage, there was a video that pops up every now and then, a couple introducing themselves to a young child. Oh, we're married. And the couple questions the child questions him briefly because he had never seen a same-sex couple married before. But then it was just like, oh, okay, and then the kid walks away.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids are very open and understanding. It's when they're taught by adults not to be.
It's how their mind is shaped.
Exactly.
Basically.
And since you were here the last time, and even since our last show, our last show here was the day before the Supreme Court ruled. So, marriage equality in 99.9% of the country, except for these little ass backward counties that are still hanging on to the dark ages. But
some little townships, like where people don't have teeth, are, just like people are quitting. People are like going on strike because same-sex couples are going down to the little townhouse and like, okay, well, it's allowed. We can have our marriage certificate. People would rather, now these desk clerks that make $8.50 an hour are denying people their quote-unquote happiness just because of their own moral standards and how they were brought up.
Right, and it's this one woman who was on her 4th marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Get your life, sweetie.
Exactly. Please go talk to your Uncle Daddy.
Your Uncle Daddy. No, I'm happy for same-sex marriage, gay marriage. Not so much for equality, but for sanitary reasons, right? Because now gay men all over Texas can finally exchange rings that are meant for their fingers. So, I'm looking forward to seeing the gay divorces too. Mostly because it'll be interesting to see which guy gets custody of the gerbil.
I'm going to send you away in a minute.
We went over this.
So I want to thank Sal for his last time. No, actually, one of the first thoughts that I had was like the two best buds that have this drunken Vegas weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, dude, we should get married.
It's
like drunken straight boy wedding just for the giggles, and then they have to explain it to their fiancés.
I think they should do a gay hangover movie. Remember the movie The Hangover? And just like everything is just like completely, like two guys should get married and be like, because you know how straight guys get when they drink. I know how they get when they drink.
The 4-beer queer?
I've never heard of the 4-beer.
But you know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yo, I was so drunk I don't remember what happened last night.
No, neither do I. But the gerbil's dead, so.
Again, Sal's last time guest host. Anything else going on? Anything in the world?
No. Oh, actually, yes. Fast food. The workers around New York State just got their minimum wage.
That bothers me, but not for the reason that it bothers a lot of people. It bothers me because...
Why does it bother you?
It should have been... Minimum wage in the state should have been completely raised, not just fast food workers.
Okay, yes, that's fair enough. I don't know. I just feel like if fast food workers got their minimum wage raised, then how come across the board, people who get paid hourly, their wages didn't go up as well?
Exactly. Same.
Because now I'm working for, let's say, like $24 an hour. Okay, I went to school when, you know, somebody who's putting their mixtapes in a Happy Meal is now getting paid the same amount of money as I busted my butt for.
Granted, but there are people who are kind of stuck in those jobs.
Those jobs aren't meant for permanent residency, though. They're for high school kids, people who want that starting out job. People can now make livings because they sat outside and went on strike.
Granted, but I've also met people say, every year my guy and I go on a cruise. And last year, the waiter that we had was from, I think he was like Ukrainian or something like that. He had a master's degree in his country that was a worthless piece of paper here.
Null and void here.
Yeah, that was a worthless piece of paper here. So he was waiting tables on a cruise ship for pennies an hour, working 12, 16-hour days.
Yeah.
So he's busting his butt trying to make something of himself in a job that's paying less than minimum wage if you really factor it out.
Yeah.
So it's not just that. There's a bigger picture. I do see what you're trying to say, that it's the original intent of that kind of job is, okay, a young kid, their first job, getting some life experience.
But then again, people who come over here, they want the same, kind of. I mean, they were doing something big in their country, and then they come here, and their documents aren't worth, like you said, like pennies here.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I built this bridge in my country. Would you like fries with that?
No, because I've worked with, I used to work in a nursing home, actually, like many, many years ago. And I was working with a residential aide. She was a doctor in her country. She came over here and like bottom of the barrel, like just hand feeding people their food. She was a doctor in her country.
And now she's scrubbing dead.
And now yes.
So.
Yeah, I know.
So there's more to the story than what is on the surface. A lot of times, not all the time. A good amount of the time. You're absolutely right. Yeah. But you can't generalize,
no,
and you can't throw everyone into that same basket. Otherwise, you're going to end up
in that basket,
or building a wall in Mexico, or on the Mexican border.
I hope my hair looks better.
We'll buff you up.
Thank you. Which head?
We'll talk about that later. Anyway, always fun just having this kind of conversation with you.
Thank you for letting me co-host with you and making you laugh on the set of your own show.
Be gone.